We're in the glorious waters of Jervis Bay, chasing one of our old-time favourites, the mighty kingfish. Now, as with all big kingfish, live bait is absolutely essential. So we're going to be working these grounds in the inshore areas of Jervis Bay, chasing squid. Now today we're going to be using a selection of new Ikado jigs from Rapala, which have a great new weight system where you can actually change the weight of the head as per the conditions you're fishing in. So if we're fishing in shallow water, we use a lighter weight. If we're fishing deeper, we use a heavier weight. Often a lot of people ask, what's the best area to find squid in? And yes, you do need to find weedy bottoms, but that's just one part of the answer. You need to find where the weed actually meets the sand on the bottom, because that's where the squid are living. They're actually swimming from the weed out to the sand to feed, then back into the weed to hide. So it's really important that you find those edges and work them with your lures. So we're going to be using these Ikado jigs and keeping them about 1 metre off the bottom along those weed edges. So I'll just run through quickly how we put them on and how they work. So basically you get your weight. Now because there's not much wind today, we're going to be working these jigs with a little bit lighter weight. So we slide it on like so, we get our little clip and we put that on like that and click it on like that. Now what will happen is that jig will actually allow it to swim freely. It won't be weighted down like some other lures where the actual weight is attached to the lure. So that can swim along happy as Larry, and hopefully a squid will come and nail it. Then we simply just tie on our Suffix fluorocarbon leader, just using a simple uni knot, a little bit of lubrication, trim the tag, and that's ready to go. So we're using basically a little 10-pound outfit with 10-pound fluorocarbon leader. That's plenty for this sort of fishing. We've got a little Okuma Adventure 2 here, great little reel for squid, along with an edgy X-Factor Okuma rod. Now these are really good for squid, and they're built purposely for squid with the really small guides. That makes them a lot easier to work your lure without getting tangles and with knots in your rod and your braid. Really important. So let's give it a shot, see if we can get a squid. And then we'll start working the lure by giving a little flick like so, and just letting it flick along. Now, the squid will actually hit it on the way back down. So what we want to do is after we give it a flick, just wait there, let the line sink, pay attention to the rod tip and wait for it to load up.
Okay, we've been fishing for a bit now, and it's a little bit slow. The squid are not really on the bite. So there are products that can help you to entice a hit from a squid, and a good example is this Stimulate. It's a spray-on product, so you spray it on the squid jig. So we're going to give that a go and see how we go with it.
All right, we've got our first little squid here. Look at that, that's perfect size for Kingfish Bay. He's just caught, so I'm going to scoop him up. And there you go. So it really did the trick. Now you can see there's no barbs on a squid jig, so it's really important that you maintain the tension on your rod as you're winding them in. And happy days, prime kingfish candy. This just goes to show how much of an amazing place Jervis Bay is. Just over my shoulder there, you can see whales breaching right in the centre of the bay. Absolutely amazing that they can come right up in here and jump and play around, all in the confines of the glorious Jervis Bay. Now you can see there's a calf and a mum, probably humpback whales. Absolutely fantastic. Got a little squid on here again. Now it's important when you're winding in, just maintain a constant bend in the rod. Keep those spokes in the squid because they don't have barbs on them. Really important to keep a nice even amount of tension on the rod and the line as you're winding it in. Oh, here's another prime little squid, perfect for kingfish, perfect size as well. These are actually southern calamari, not an arrow squid. Now, the problem with squid fishing, as you can see what just happened to Dennis here, is they do squirt black ink, so it's really important not to point the squid towards the person like that. So don't do that and agitate it, because it often can squirt squid ink, and then you end up with all these stains all over. So try not to do that. Aqua's just bringing in a squid here. Now they normally swim in little pods of, 4 or 5, so I'm going to flick my jig right behind where Aqua's was, just there. I'll leave that there and let that sink in the meantime as I bring in Aqua's one. There you have it, another prime little squid. Now Dennis has asked me to point this squid at Aqua to get him back, but I'm not going to be that mean, okay? It's really important to have a good live bait tank with a constant fresh flow of water as it's recirculating. That way the squid can stay alive all day long. Aqua's got another little squid here. Now you'll see as Aqua's winding it in, he will maintain constant pressure, and we're building up a nice little amount of ammunition now. Got about 6 or 7 squid. This I think will be number 8. Perfect for kingies. We've managed to catch a good supply of squid. So now we've made our way outside of Jervis Bay Heads, and we'll be working along these glorious cliff edges, hoping to find a big kingfish. You can see here in the tank, great supply of squid. So we're going to whack one of them on our rod and send him down on the downrigger. So I'm just going to run through with you exactly how we do it. We've got our 80-pound CEDROS outfit here. You need a good, powerful reel that can put out lots of drag. You want at least 20 kilos of pressure. We've got a twin hook rig here at the end, fixed on a 100-pound Suffix fluorocarbon line. It's got about 1.5 meters of trace connected to our swivel. So if the squid does decide to spin, at least the line will stay nice and untwisted. So all we do is we grab a squid out of the tank, like so. You grab the first hook, which will be our toe point, and you put that right on the tip of the squid. Now that will form our toe point, so that's where he's going to get dragged along. Then our second hook, we just want loosely laid, just about there, like so. So no matter if the kingfish hits the head, he's going to get caught. If he hits the tail, he's going to get caught. So we let out our rod, line our rod. There's about 6 meters worth of 80-pound fluorocarbon wind-on trace here. Really important for kingfish fishing because they are dogged fighters and they will try and get you down in the reef, so it's really important that you keep that braid away from the reef by using a wind-on leader, just connected with an all-bright lock. So now that's about 10 meters behind us there. Squid's travelling along nicely. You put the rod in the rod holder, make sure it's in free spool, grab our line and elastic band, wind the elastic band around the braid about 6 times, put it through itself, like so, and that will be our toe point in the downrigger. So we grab the elastic band and we put it inside our clip, like so, and that'll be nice and secure. Now the reason why we use an elastic band is so when it breaks it doesn't damage the braid. A lot of people just put the braid in the clip and it can fray the braid. Really important to use elastic band. So now we've got our 12-pound bomb on our downrigger, and we'll let it out. Now I'm going to ask Dennis how deep we are. How deep are we, Dennis?
62 feet.
62 feet. So I've got a line counter on the downrigger. I'm going to put it down about 40 feet. About 20 foot off the bottom is perfect. So down she goes. So now the downrigger is set to 40 feet. We grab our rod, we lock in the drag. That's nice and tight. I can barely pull that off with my hands. And then wind it tight onto the elastic band, back in the rod holder, and away we go. Now all we're going to do is we're going to be trolling along these cliff faces in about 60 to 80 foot of water, looking for those ledges, looking for good solid markings on the sounder, and hopefully find a big kingfish. See how we go. As you can see on our Furuno 585 sounder, you can actually see the downrigger bomb travelling along at that 40 foot depth that we talked about before. Now what that does, that gives Dennis a great indication as he's driving exactly where the bomb is at all times. So as the ground undulates, he can keep it well away from the bottom. Now the other good thing about that is, Dennis can say, hey, we're getting some good markings down the bottom, let's drop the bomb to the required depth and get that bait right where the fish are feeding. Great little function. We've hooked up, fish came and slammed the squid. Now Dennis is just driving the boat away to try and get this fish out of the reef. He's got a lot of weight, this fish. So we're just going to drive out for a little bit, see if we can get him up. Oh man. There you go. Okay, there we have it. Lovely kingfish. We'll get him out of the net. Well, there you have it, a fantastic Jervis Bay kingfish caught on a live squid. Now this particular fish is about 8 kilos, about 95 centimeters long, absolutely fantastic. Now you can see how well fed they are. Look how fat this fella is, absolutely perfect for eating. So we're going to keep this fella and we'll show you a little bit later on how to fillet them properly so we can eat him for tea. Let's go get another one. Now we're only in sort of 80 foot of water here, sometimes even less. I think
you're in 76 feet, Ian.
Righto, no worries. That's why it's so important to have good quality gear that can stop these fish from getting back down there. This Okuma CEDROS outfit that we're using today did that job absolutely perfectly. Really important to get them out of that reef. We're right in shallow then, we'll probably be about 65 foot of water. So by driving away, we're actually helping plane this fish up. Okay, Dennis. 71 foot, really important to communicate with your captain. Okay, we get the net, guys, he's up here. Looks like he's only a little smaller fish. Geez, they got some go, don't they? There you have it. Another great little kingfish here. You can see this isn't a massive fish, but boy do they go hard. That's why these are called the brutes of the sea. Fantastic fighting fish and fantastic eating too. Let's see how long this one is. There you go, he's about 70 centimeters long, so he's illegal. We can keep him, but I think this little fella here, we'll throw him back, let him fight another day. Hopefully we'll get a big one later on. We've hooked up again. Ooh. Seems to be a school of fish just holding here, right on the edge of that reef. They're not massive fish, but they seem to be holding in a nice, tight little ball there, feeding away, making it nice and easy for us to locate them every time. So important to use your GPS, mark where you're catching them on the GPS, and then go over that mark. Now this is actually a snapper. There you go. Lovely red. So, there you go, we all thought that was a kingfish, but as a bycatch, and what a great bycatch that is, a fantastic snapper. Have a look at that for a bycatch. That's the great thing about using a downrigger when you're targeting kingfish, because you're a lot lower to the bottom of the seafloor. That's where the snapper feed, and being squid, one of the best bait you can get. These fellas will eat them too, and mate, he's going to taste absolutely fantastic tonight. So let's get him in the bag and get our lines back in the water. we've had a great little session using our live squid for bait to catch a couple of kings and a snapper just to mix it up a bit. So now we're going to try something a little different. We've moved to another spot in about 40 metres of water and we're going to be trying jigging. Now, we're going to be using these Williamson bent hose jigs today in the 250 gram pink variety. Now these particular ones have an evenly amount of weight distributed through them, so they will flutter nice and evenly. We've paired them up with our Okuma Selena 2 reel with 80-pound braid again, with our 37 to 60 kilo V system Okuma rods. So plenty power, so if we do hook a good one, we are certain to land him. So let's get it down there. We'll show you how it's done. When you're jigging for kings, it's important to let your jig go all the way down to the bottom. Once it hits the bottom, you simply flick over the bail arm and then start ripping away. There's lots of different ways you can jig. It's important to mix it up a bit. You can go fast, like that, or you can go slow, and every now and again, you can even stop, let it sit there, let any fish lingering around it to latch on. So try all different forms of jigging. You just don't know which one's going to work best. One of the great things about owning an Evinrude E-Tech is the power and performance that they can offer. This particular boat weighs 2.5 tonne, and the fact that our 200 HO gets us up on the plane in no time at all is absolutely priceless. All Evinrude E-Techs are direct injected powered two-strokes, which makes them unrivaled against all other engines on the market. So we're going to show you just how quick we can get this boat up on the plane. So there you go, it only took us a few seconds and 2.5 tonne of boat was up and moving. Now that's really important when we're out there in heavy conditions or crossing a bar, performance that is absolutely necessary for all serious boaties. So get out there and get one for yourself. Well, we've had an absolutely fantastic day on the water. We've managed to get a couple of kingfish and a lovely snapper as a lucky bycatch. Now, one of the great things about fishing is the fact that you get to take a feed of fish home with you to feed you and your family. So what we're going to demonstrate to you here today is the correct way to fillet a kingfish. Now it's really important to use good quality filleting knives when you're doing this exercise. We're using these Rapala filleting knives here, as you can see. They come in a variety of sizes. We've got the large one and the medium. The medium here will be perfect for the kingfish we're going to be filleting today. Okay, so here we have our kingfish that we caught earlier. Now we've already gilled and gutted the fish, as you can see here, so it's nice and clean and ready to be filleted. So the first thing we want to do, we'll flip him over, and we're going to make an incision down here, and that will be our starting point for filleting the fish. So we do it like that. Now you want to do it on a little bit of an angle to maximise all the meat in here behind the head. A lot of people go straight down, then you lose all that meat there. So let's get right in behind the pec fin, like that. And you can see there, that's all prime quality meat under there. Okay, there we have our first incision done. Now the next thing we're going to do is create an incision down his backbone, and that will be our starting point for our filleting of the fish this way. So we put the line straight down the back like so. All the way to his tail. Now when you get to about this point here, where you're in line with his anal fin, you can go straight through the fish, pop out the other side, and keep going down the backbone. Now I'll turn this around so you can see it. And you can see how effortlessly that knife does that. Prime quality fillet. Now we'll turn the fish around and we're going to start filleting down that backbone. Feel the knife rub along the backbone. That way
you know that you're not wasting any meat. He's about halfway through now. Now we're there. Turn him around this way. We've got the slot already there, and then straight along his backbone, all the way down the back. And there you have it. There is our first bit of meat done, ready to go. Then you simply flip it over and you do the same thing again on this side. So from here you can choose to skin the fillet or leave it on as is. Now a lot of chefs actually recommend that you leave the skin on, because as you cook it, it actually contains all the moisture within the fish and it will taste a lot better. So there you have it, a meal fit for a king. Now all you need to do is get out there and give it a shot for yourself. Catch you on the water.